All right, welcome. This is the Monitor APM weekly meeting for June 24th. I'll point out there's a few things in the agenda that are kind of read-only announcements, so please look at those. And then we can start with Ruben.
Sure. So this is an issue that we've had for some time now, I think. I just wanted to check if anyone has any opinion about the proposal in the issue. Should I share my screen?
Sure, why don't you do that?
So I think we had discussed a few months back about removing the wait and order keys, wait and priority keys in the dashboard schema, so that the front end can order the panels as they are in the file. Right now, they get reordered by this sorter component. So instead of that, we can remove the wait and priority keys and just let them be positioned according to how they are in the file. So the current proposal is to remove the priority and wait keys from all the out-of-the-box dashboards, then remove it from the spec schema, and then entirely remove the sorter stage. So here you can see it sorts the panel groups by the priority and then the panels by the weight. So we can stop doing that, and later on we can allow the user to reorder panels right on the front end. If this sounds good, then we can, it's already scheduled for 13.3, so we can implement it.
I think we had this issue for quite a while, and don't remember if we have any resistance of not doing that. So I think it makes sense, but feel free to comment if you think otherwise.
Yeah, I think we started working on this last fall or sometime. I think we're looking at this. I think David started on it and had some implementation that we ended up just closing. I think the worry, which I'm not saying we shouldn't do this, I think at the time the concern was that users who had priority and these weights, their dashboards might change order on them. I'm not sure that's a big issue or not. I think one of the options was going to be to, if it had priority and weight, then use it. Otherwise, sort it by, use the existing, use priority if it was there. That was one of the options, was to use the priority if it was there. Otherwise, sort of just how it is in the file. I think it would be simpler to just remove it altogether, though. So
we could also utilize the validations. So we could like add the new validation to warn users that we will be removing the order and wait soon, if those attributes are present in the dashboard schema. So they will be warned that those are about to be deprecated, and they should just reorder the entries in the file to get the result as it was before.
Did you mean in the documentation, or you meant validation?
I meant validation, so because we do some validations, you could add another that if the weight or the order is pressed, display the warning that they will be deprecated soon, and if the user wants to persist the current experience, they should just adjust the dashboard schema.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We can do that. And I was also thinking, since it's scheduled for 13.3, I can maybe add a snowplow to track the usage of those keys, priority and weight. Then we can decide.
I'm not sure that is needed. I mean, again, depends of the capacity to have in the team, but I'm inclined not to add too much tracking issues around that, around our product unless we really have to. So again, depends on the capacity. Basically.
Then I think Mikolaj's idea of adding a warning in the validation should give users enough motivation to change their dashboard YAMLs.
Andre, you had the question on the chat. You want to verbalize it?
Yeah. If there are a lot of panels in the dashboard and the user will rearrange them and will find an optimal order, will this order be persisted somehow? Or every time the user visits the dashboard page, he will have to rearrange them in order to have a better view? I haven't looked into the issue too much, so I don't know if something like this is planned.
You're talking about the issue that I linked?
Yeah, the one with removing the order and wait from.
So there's a separate issue for actually implementing the reordering on the front end. So that's where we'll have to implement saving the new order and everything. But yeah, it'll have to be saved.
Okay, thank you.
And Jose, you mentioned we can order it by drag and drop.
Yeah, that's well, at least I see it from the code. It seems that Miguel did some work to actually reorder the panels by just drag and dropping. I don't use that feature myself that much, so I cannot confirm or deny. But the code is there, so
that's a great feature. The question is, I guess we'll need to implement some backend work to do the actual saving. We're doing it on the front end, no?
probably, yeah.
As far as I know, Christie implemented some sort of backend endpoint which accept the JSON and create the commit which updates the file, dashboard schema file, out of that. But I don't know if it was integrated or it's just there but not used in any way.
Interesting. Maybe we can set a spike issue for the next iteration just to check this. Because if the work from the front end was done, then we should like complete it and have this feature available for user. It's a great feature to use. Okay.
Okay, the next one in the agenda was from Miguel, who's not here, but I can read it. He had a question about removing possibly unused file, clustermetrics.yaml. I don't know if anyone has looked at that or thought about it.
Yeah, so that file used to be used for the Clustermetrics health dashboard, but now I think it's shifted to the EE folder, and this one is not used. So there are a couple of comments there to confirm. Once that is confirmed, we can either remove it or do something.
Okay, good. Yeah, I see. I think continuing to comment in the issue is great. We'll keep following up there.
I just realized that since we're moving cluster health metrics to core, we're gonna end up moving the E file to core. So this issue is probably related to that other one, and the cluster health issues is scheduled for this release. So I'm just gonna try to link the two.
Peter had put a comment there saying that the file was copied during the effort to unify the code bases. So if we are moving cluster health to core, I suppose it makes this easier. We can eliminate the EE file and just bring it into core.
Yes. And let me comment before I forget.
What's the E stands for? Just for my knowledge.
Enterprise edition, I guess. We used to have two separate code bases, then it was combined, but the code for the enterprise edition is under an E
folder. Yep.
Yeah.
So if we are moving cluster health to core, it means that it needs to move to CE?
Not necessarily. We're just basically updating the paths to and moving everything that was inside the EE folder to just the app folder.
Yeah.
Okay. Nadia, you have the next one?
Yep. So today I've just been looking at our metrics dashboard and noticed a few things that I think could be improved. So currently the default out of the box dashboard is called default, and that doesn't tell the user anything about that dashboard, what kinds of metrics it contains. So it kind of, if you have a very long list of dashboards, it makes it difficult to understand what the dashboard is about. So I think we need to give it a better name that reflects what metrics it contains or what's the purpose of the dashboard. So I just wanted to have a discussion around what a good name would be. I also considered the common metrics name that Dove suggested, but I was wondering maybe any of you have any other suggestions. Andre, I see you suggested home. So I'm currently working on a design for setting a dashboard as home screen, and in the next milestone we'll be implementing that. So the user will be able to set any dashboard as their home screen. So I think it's better if we have some more descriptive name that reflects the kinds of metrics are in that dashboard. And it should probably be, well, those are some pretty common metrics. So the common metrics make sense to me, but if you have better suggestions, let me know.
Yeah, I just follow the same pattern as we are doing with the rest of our dashboard naming. And we are using the YAML file, and that's the name of the YAML file. So I said, let's do that. But if not, I also added some in the issue itself, like maybe like general metrics or overview. I mean, we can also do that. Originally, I thought that what made most sense is to break this dashboard into separate dashboard, but that's totally different discussion from what you're asking. So maybe now it's not the time to do that. Like ideally would break like only the AWS parts and say, okay, this is the AWS dashboard, and then Nginx dashboard, but it's a bigger task than what you've asked. So just renaming, I think for now makes sense. So that was my thoughts.
I think renaming is difficult because it contains such a wide variety of metrics. Like it has metrics for CPU, memory, Nginx, and a lot of different things. So it might become easier if we break it up.
Yeah, I agree. That's like the long term, but I think right now just renaming from default, because default has like some meaning around it, and I agree that this is not the right name for the dashboard. So maybe like a quick solution for now. Let's change it and then think about how and when are we planning to break it.
The name in the dashboard itself is environment metrics. It's not currently used anywhere, but that's what the current value is. Maybe we can use that.
Yeah, but in environments for us is, we're using environments for our environment. So I'm not sure if, I don't know. Naming is always hard. That's the hardest thing that we can do.
Okay, I will document the suggestions in the issue and then we can decide.
Yeah.
So a related idea was to remove the .yaml file extension from the dashboard names in the dashboard dropdown. So I noticed that we just take the name file with this extension, and I think we should just drop the extension and just show the name, because the user is not browsing the files. The user is picking the dashboard, even though in the background we're changing the files.
I think it makes sense.
Instead of using the file name without an extension, should we use the value of the dashboard key? In the dashboard YAML at the top, there is a dashboard key which is required, I think. So that's like the dashboard name.
What's dashboard keys for? Just naming?
Yeah. Let me link to the common metrics dashboard.
I think we should be a bit more explicit. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is it obvious to our users that the file name will be used as the dashboard name if there is a key that they're also filling out? So to me, it seems like it would be really great if there was something very explicit, like define your dashboard name.
But I think when you create a dashboard, if we will work with the UI, then we will specifically ask the user dashboard name, and behind the scene we'll just use it to populate the file name.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do that, or maybe we can automatically also populate the dashboard key with this name as well. Well, I mean, why do we need a dashboard key if we are doing that? I mean, can we just remove this key from?
So now I'm looking at the common metrics YAML file, and at the top it says dashboard, and it's called environment metrics. Is that the key?
Yeah, that's one. It's not currently displayed on the front end anywhere, but
okay.
It kind of allows the user to name their dashboard.
I would probably expect it to be the name displayed in the dashboard dropdown then.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Okay, cool. Then I will edit the issue to reflect that. And another question from me about metric settings. So I'm currently working on, I'm exploring different solutions for how to allow our users to set a dashboard as home screen. And I played around with a couple of different options for doing that from the dashboard dropdown and from the UI. And then I started thinking that, well, depending on how the feature will be used, whether it's something that we want the admin to set for the team, or we want every user to be able to set different dashboards as their home screen, maybe it should be a setting. So then I started thinking, okay, then what are the permissions around metric settings? Can someone explain to me?
I think that
can
really
anyone access metrics?
I think it's important to understand what are the settings that we will give the users to change, and this will probably dictate the permission level. Not sure what it is today, but if it's like setting up time like UTC and stuff like that, I don't think we should let developers do that. But if it's just, I don't know, like simple things, then we should.
So right now in the settings, we have the dashboard time zone. So you can choose between UTC and the user's time zone, and you can also add the external dashboard URL. So to me, it seems like the dashboard time zone, it should be available to any user, to developers as well. But external dashboard URL, it's something probably like the owner or maintainer of the project should define.
How is it defined today, by the way? Anyone can access it?
Currently, it's maintainer access. So only maintainers of the project can access any setting on that page, operations metrics.
Okay.
And by the way, if we are looking at splitting the requirements for each setting, that will be a larger change than simply making all those settings available to, say, developer role. Because the way it's currently made is, it's such that it just checks one setting. So if you want to break it up, it'll be a larger issue.
Okay. Okay, cool. That helps. And I promised the last question. So as I'm working on this setting dashboard as a home screen, I've been wondering about the use case. So do we want to allow only maintainer or the owner of the project to set a specific home screen, and then that home screen will be displayed for everyone who uses metrics? Or do we want to allow every user to pick a home screen and then we'll remember that setting for them? Because I think that depending on their specific role, different users might have different preferences and they may be accessing different dashboards more frequently.
I think it should be like per user and not like a global setting that is defined once.
Okay. Thanks. That's all on my end.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to give an update to the team about NMR that me and Clement created around the dogfooding metric process. And you can read this through and it's going to get merged tomorrow. But basically what we would like to do is, first of all, to have some sort of a process which is documented on the handbook with clear DRIs. And the process is as followed, and you can read it through, but I'll just give the highlights. So the info team will provide a list of dashboards that they think can be like a candidate for them to either turn it off or clone. And we as a team try to clone them in some sort of a test strip when we have an issue for that, for 13.2. And that's the reason why we have it there. And after we've cloned it, we'll ask the info team to go and check this dashboard and ideally provide some sort of gap analysis in the issues that things that are missing in a priority matter. And after that, we will be able to prioritize, understand what is important to them, and according to that, to implement those issues. Once those issues get implemented, the info team will need to clone those dashboards to their project somewhere in .NET or COM, but it will not be on our responsibility to keep them up and running. Basically, doesn't make sense for us to do that. And then when they decide that it's the time, they will turn off Grafana dashboard. So there are like clear DRIs, who's doing what and why. We'll still need to refine a bit more the MR, but this is the outline, the highlights of this. So any questions around this process? Is it clear? Good. Okay. Back to you, Matt.
All right. I think that's it. So thanks, everyone. And yeah, have a good rest of your week.